Hello, 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 everyone out there. It is your girl, Miss Natalie B, repping for the amazing Healing Academy, y'all. And I'm excited. I'm excited for a whole lot of reasons, but right now, I am super excited to be with you all yet again because we back, baby. I know you've been hearing it a lot lately because our programming has restarted for the Healing Academy. And honey, we back. I'm talking about back, biggity back, biggity back. Yes, it is Free Your Mind Friday with the Healing Academy. And Free Your Mind Friday is super live. I had a blast hosting Free Your Mind Friday during the quarantine when it first really popped off over the course of the summer. We had some fantastic, like really fantastic and amazing artists slide through and give us so much love, give us their talent, give us their story and why they do what they do. Just to recap, we had Quest, aka Venom or Alter Ego Venom. We had Bella Boz. We had Xavier Battles. We had Red Velvet. We had Cherlnell Lane. We had Prince of Poetry, Geronimo, and Tuyania Conke. We had Binky. We had Zen Frankie. Just some absolutely amazing artists and different art forms, different styles. We had Zen Frankie come through playing several musical instruments. Okay, self-taught. That man is amazing. We had Tuyania Conke with the spoken word, Cherlnell Lane with the spoken word. We had Xavier Battles coming with the artistry, as he likes to call it, because he is creating beats. He is rapping on the track. He is playing guitar while he raps on the track. Just levels on levels on level with that young man. And he actually has some new music dropping. Check out Xavier Battles. So does Red Velvet, because we definitely support our artists here at the Healing Academy because they come on here for y'all. And I'm here for y'all. And we here, baby. And we live. And today we are closing out this week's topic of literacy. So if you all have seen us post all week long, we have been talking about literacy. And the first thing about literacy, Monday, and from this points forward, you'll notice that Mondays is going to be education. So every Monday is education. Now that we're back and we are consistent, every Monday is education. Every Tuesday, we back again. I'm going to say it again. Every Tuesday is the Breathe Experience Tuesday. And then after that, on Wednesdays, we are talking about art. After that, on Thursdays, we are talking about health. And we'll have a different topic every single week. And each week we'll follow those themes: education, art, the Breathe Experience, y'all, because y'all know y'all need a moment to breathe. And then, of course, on Fridays, Free Your Mind Friday. So we're super excited today to continue the conversation about literacy. So if you guys were tuned in through the Breathe Experience on Tuesday, you may have heard some really in-depth things. We kind of went in depth on some of the smaller tidbits that we give you all throughout the week on our Instagram and Facebook page. But we went into depth on what literacy is, how most people think of it as just reading and writing, but it's so much more than that. And literacy can be in pretty much every different topic there is. It's emotional literacy, there's financial literacy, and it goes on and on and on. And that we need to get rid of that stigma of being illiterate, the fear rather of being illiterate. It just means you don't know something in a certain area. And that's okay, because everybody on this planet is literate in something. Okay, we just have to figure out what it is and then do our work to get better at what that thing is. Okay. So we definitely went in depth on that. But today we're going to go in depth in literacy in a personal experience, in an artist's life. And that's how we'll do Free Your Mind Friday this time around. We're going to sum up the topic that we started throughout the week. And we're going to talk to a beautiful artist. Today we have Miss Cherlnell Lane. Cherlnell Lane, I'm going to go ahead and bring you up. How are you, sis?
I'm Cherlnell, good. How are you?
I think you're lagging just a tad bit.
Yeah, there's a lag.
Okay, I'm gonna have you go out and try to come back in. You're lagging and you're kind of freezing. So if you can go out and come back in, we'll try to refresh that and do it again. But Cherlnell Lane is going to join us, and she'll be telling us about her literacy journey and the things that literacy helped her to overcome in her personal life, in her career, in her talents, because she is an author, self-published of many books, featured in many more. Also, she is a poet. She is a facilitator of space, of mind, of community, and bearing her soul to heal yours. And so when she comes back, we'll go a little bit deeper into that with her and how literacy played a really big role in her life. And I think it's important that we understand that literacy, whether we want to believe it or not, plays a huge role in our lives, because literacy, again, is not just reading and writing. Literacy is also how we understand, how we communicate. And I think with that, it's important for us to know that that leaks into our relationships. So if you're talking about any kind of relationship, family relationship, boyfriend, girlfriend relationships, whatever it may be, it's important that we look into literacy, because a lot of times people are talking and we don't know what they're saying. To be 100% honest, a lot of the times we can't communicate how we feel. And that all goes back to literacy. And again, it's that fear of being illiterate, that word or that stigma that's placed upon you. But we have to take back control of that, because there's a power in knowing that you're illiterate in something and then fixing that problem. The reason why you may be illiterate in something may be completely out of your control. And a lot of the times it is completely out of your control. But fixing that problem is the next step. And that's totally up to you. So with that, I want you guys to drop in the comments and talk to me. Let me know if you have anything that you struggle with in a literacy journey, whether that be emotional literacy, knowing how you feel, being able to communicate how you feel, being able to manage your emotions, whether it be financial literacy, budgets, because that is one thing, you guys, that I preach. My family, my friends, they can tell you I preach financial literacy. I preach, and I don't know everything, and I'm aware that I don't know everything. Okay, I seek help in the departments that I need to seek help in, because I don't have a problem with saying I'm illiterate in something, because I want to get better at it. I want to become literate in whatever that thing is. And so I know I'm not the most literate in financial literacy, but I preach budgets. I preach budgets. Okay. It will, when people really take a deep look at their finances, and we're going to get into a lot more different types of topics and types of literacy, excuse me. But financial literacy, since we're here, I'm going to stay here for a second, because it's really important that we acknowledge how financial literacy can heal us. Literacy, as far as, again, reading, writing, understanding, and comprehending what we're reading and what we're learning, those different things are very important to freeing us individually and as a people and as a culture as well. But financial literacy, since we're here at financial literacy, we're going to talk about this. And I'm going to go back to emotional literacy and how that can heal us as a people as well. But financial literacy, for me, I feel like can heal us, because it's out there, y'all. The stats are there. We are the highest spending power. We are the highest spending power. But that money does not circulate in our communities, you guys. So when we talk about literacy, we have to be literate in everything. And financial literacy is one thing that was not taught to us. So going back to literacy may not be your fault. It may not be your fault. But once you know that there's a deficit, you have to fill it, right? So how financial literacy can heal our community? If we have the highest spending power, and we know that it's out there that we have the highest spending power, and you can spend, honey, around Christmas, on your birthday, any other day, a regular day, you can spend, okay? Where is that money going? Is it being circulated back into your community? Are you making sure that that money goes to Black-owned businesses? Where's the money going? And why is it going out? I think that's one thing that we really, really have to watch. Why are we spending money? Where are we spending money? And is it money that we have to spend? And that's where budgets come into play. Because, of course, we all want to treat ourselves. Sometimes we all want something nice. Sometimes put that into your budget, honey. Because the people that I talk to about budgets, and I bug them about it, friends and family, they have no idea really where their money goes. And I laugh because it's sometimes some of my friends, they have really good jobs and they make more money than me, but I always seem to have more money than them. I'm like, why is that? Why? Let's look at this. And when we actually look at it, a lot of their money goes towards food. Do you know how much we spend on food? Fast food, different things like that, eating out. Most of our money goes towards food. Okay, so if we have a budget and we know we like to eat out, let's put that in the budget. All right, we're going to put this much in the budget for eating out. I'm not exceeding this amount. That way you're not blindly spending, right? So that's how we can become financially literate, knowing where our money is going and how much is going out and why it's going out, and then correcting those issues. That's why it's important to say, okay, yeah, I'm illiterate in this thing. Let me figure this thing out. Okay, that's financial literacy. And once we be able to save money and have money in our pockets at the end of the day or the month or the week, we can invest. We can invest in our community. We can invest in ourselves. We can invest in our businesses. We can invest. And that's another really important step when we're talking about financial literacy. But again, literacy is in all forms. And we mentioned emotional literacy and how emotional literacy can really heal our community if we realize where we are broken, what is wrong, what happened to us to make us feel this way, and then take the steps to become better, to heal from those traumas, right? Or communicate so that we are not causing more trauma to someone else. Emotional literacy can heal us individually, but it can also heal us as a people because we'll move different. And we have to understand, as melanated people in this country, melanated people around the world, really, we have a lot of trauma that we have to work through. And some of it, a lot of it is not ours personally. It's been passed down through generations and it just happened to end up on us. But we have to be the ones to break those generational chains. We have to be the one to break those family curses. We have to be the one. Once you know better, you should do better. And so that all ties into emotional maturity and emotional literacy. So literacy is not just reading and writing. Literacy is all across the board. And as I mentioned to you all before, we have Cherlnell Lane who's with us. And I'll go ahead and bring her up. Let's make sure everything's working again now. And you are on mute. Can you unmute yourself? Perfect. Hi.
Hey.
Hey. There we go. You're beautiful now. I see you. You clear.
Thank you.
Come on here. I see you brave. Come through to come. Okay. I'm for it.
I'm sorry for the technical issues at the beginning.
Oh, no worries.
Having problems with my ancient computer.
You said what?
I said I'm having problems with my ancient computer. You know.
No worries. We ain't got no control over this technology, honey. We just gotta let go, let God. But thank you for being with us today. We are talking about literacy. And so you as our first guest back on Free Your Mind Friday. And you know, I'm feeling a little nostalgic. I'm feeling a little, I don't know if y'all peep this up pony I got here, honey. But this up pony I got, honey, I'm feeling it today, okay? And you know, I used to be that y'all favorite YouTube DJ when we were on Free Your Mind Fridays on IG Live. So this is actually our first one, not only of the new year, 2021. Happy New Year, Cherlnell. Okay. And everybody out there watching, Happy New Year. But this is the first Free Your Mind Friday on Facebook. We rolled it over to this platform. So thank you for being our very first guest on Facebook of the new year and on the reboot of Free Your Mind Fridays. And when we started talking about literacy, and again, for everyone, we are posting all week long. Each week is a different theme. but we cover the same subject matters within those different themes: education, art, health, and of course, we do our brief experiences on Tuesdays and Free Your Mind Fridays. And so Free Your Mind Fridays is a sum up of what we talked about throughout the week. The tidbits we'll give you on Facebook and Instagram through the Healing Academy. But we want to get to know you. We want to get to know our amazing artists out there. So if anyone wants to come on the show next, please let us know. But Cherlnell, we want to know you. We want to know how you fit into literacy and how literacy fit into your life. And so as we were looking for an artist for this first comeback show, and I'm like, literacy, Cherlnell Lane. Cherlnell Lane of Cherlnell Lane LLC. And I know when I asked you about it, I was like, because literacy is kind of your life. And you were like, is it? I was like, well, let's go down the list. It's kind of your life. And it's a beautiful story. And I know a lot of it of your story, but we want the listeners to know a bit of it as well. So we talked about how literacy is in a whole lot of different realms. It's not just reading and writing. And how literacy can be healing and how it can impact our life greater than we know. Right.
Absolutely.
So for you, can we start by you kind of telling the people a little bit about who you are? I gave you an introduction a little earlier, but can you tell the people about who you are and what you do and why you do it?
Absolutely. My name is Cherlnell Lane. I bear my soul to heal yours, and I am the founder of Cherlnell Lane LLC, where we help you use your words. I am an writer, author, speaker, teacher, facilitator, advocate, and poetic storyteller. I am also an avid reader and a music lover and a people lover, and I believe in communication. I teach workshops and classes based on different things where we say writing through our workshops and healing through our summits, where we help people reveal, deal, and heal from trauma and negative emotion while recognizing and celebrating positive experiences and strengths. So, yeah, so that's a roundabout synopsis.
So as y'all can hear and see, I was not lying. Literacy is this woman's life. So as an artist who can talk about literacy and how it impacts them, Cherlnell Lane of Cherlnell Lane LLC. Everything you do is in some form is based around literacy. So before we hop into the now, I kind of want to hop in a time machine and take people back to the beginning. You've seen Brown Sugar, yes?
Yes.
You know, the question, when did you fall in love with hip hop? When did you fall in love with literacy? Okay, when
Oh my goodness. You know, this is very interesting because I've talked about this several times in several different formats, and that is the first time that anyone has asked me that question.
Come on here.
So I appreciate it. When did
Thank
I fall in
you.
love with literacy? I fell in love with literacy as a child, as pretty much as a baby. My nephew Jaleel, who happens to be Natalie's son,
Yes.
he reminds me so much of myself. He's more advanced than me, but he reminds me so much of myself. I think I fell in love with literacy just with my mother and my grandparents buying me all of these books and reading them to me and teaching me how to read. And I was reading and doing math before I started preschool. So I'll never forget, I went to preschool, and of course, they're teaching like ABCs and colors and counting to 10. And I told the teacher, like, I did this already. Like, y'all not teaching me nothing. What is this?
What's next?
When do we move on to multiplication? Because this is not where it's at. Of course, I got in trouble for that, but still, I was like, no. But what it made me do is it made me love books that much earlier. So I fell in love with books. I fell in love with reading. I fell in love with writing. The first time I wrote something, like a poem or an essay, was in first grade. And I think that it was like I was discovered, right? So I wrote this piece. It was on Martin Luther King and the Civil Rights Movement.
Okay.
And when I read it, this is in first grade. When I read it, it was like people were like, "Oh my god,"
In first
you know.
grade.
And like my teacher took it to the other teacher, and then they was like, "Read this for this grade, read this for the school, read it for the principal." Everybody was like, "Oh my god!" And I think that's because what I try to do, as far as we're talking about literacy, and how
Mm-hmm.
literacy is not just like writing and reading. What I tend to do, or what I aim to do with all of my work now, today, back then, is to connect with my subject, meaning my topic, my person of interest, whoever I'm thinking about when I write what I write, and also thinking about my audience, right? So, what do I want this story? How do I want to represent this as
Mm-hmm.
the story of the person? How do I want this represented? And then how do I want people to receive it? And then the last
That's
part, which is
good.
really the first part, is do I respect the subject or the inspiration, or you know what I'm saying? Because you want to respect that. So I think as part is a part of literacy, how that comes into play with that is communication.
Mm.
And communication is a big part of literacy. And it's not just talking, so that was my first piece. From there, I kept writing. I got into oratory contests, and I remember young authors contest, and things like that. And even and this is a big part for people, children, or people who remember being children, like the whole world. um we would take standardized tests.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And these standardized tests, you had these reading questions and these reading comprehension questions. And I'm not saying that I'm for standardized tests, because I believe there are a whole lot of problems with
I'm not
standardized
for it, to be
tests,
honest with
like
you.
multitudes of problems. But I remember taking them, and I remember needing what I was learning to complete the test. And also, but also in the flip side, I was confident that I knew what was on the test.
Mm.
Um, so that was a part of it. The other part of literacy that I love is that um, you don't have to be great at, like you said, at all of it. Right?
Right.
When we think of literacy, we think of writing, we think of English, we think of things of that nature, or like you said, financial literacy, all of these things. But when normal people, or general people, when the general person thinks of literacy, that's what they think of, like written English type stuff. And
Right.
they think, because like people come to me all the time and they're like, "You're a writer," and I'm like, "How do you spell this?" And they're like, "You know how to spell it? You're a writer." Let me tell you, I
And
stopped spelling words in the fourth grade. It wasn't because I gave up. It wasn't because I gave up. My mind, it just wasn't. It just wasn't like, I need to spell this word. And this was before spell check. Okay, this was when you had to get a dictionary and look up the word. Okay, and I still was like, I just can't do it. And people were so shocked. Like nobody wanted to believe it, because they're like, "But you write this?" Look, I just can't. That's not my field. That's not my ministry.
right. That's not my ministry.
That's not for me. That's not what I'm called to do right now. So even when you don't feel like you have all the parts,
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't mean that your gift is invalid.
Absolutely.
That doesn't mean that your expertise, you know what I'm saying, that you're not an expert in what you're doing.
Absolutely.
Because what people feel, what you need, or what checks you should check off. Just because people think that's what you need, that doesn't stop or hinder you from being an expert or being good at what you do.
And I'm glad
So
you brought that up. I'm really
yes.
glad you brought that up because I tell people all the time, every time the subject comes up, I say I'm really passionate about education and about literacy because I always say I feel like the education system failed me. Like public schools did not do me a service. Okay. They didn't
Mhm.
prepare me. They didn't teach me everything I needed to know.
Absolutely.
And so I'm the first one, baby. I'm gonna ask you how to spell something. If I can't, I'm gonna be saying it into my phone. Spelling is not I'm not A1 in spelling, okay?
Great one.
Like, and you have to know, you have to be confident enough to know, going back to what I said before, we got to get rid of the fear of being illiterate.
Absolutely.
Or worried about what people are going to think. If you have to ask a question, baby, ask a question. If you have to find a way
Absolutely.
around something, find a way around something. Because another thing is that we all learn differently. And a
Absolutely.
lot of the times they're teaching us the exact same way. So it may
Mhm.
work for somebody, but it may not work for you that way. So a lot of times we have to figure out what works for us. When
Mhm.
I was I told this story on Tuesday for the Breathe experience. When I was in school, I was a slower reader.
Mhm.
So what did I do? Before Audible, I went to the library and I found the audio book and I read along with that
Absolutely.
audio book. And baby, I was ahead of the class. Okay. So
Mhm.
it doesn't mean that you can't do because you may be behind or not where you want to be in a certain area.
Absolutely.
That just means you have to figure out what works for you and work a little bit harder sometimes. And I tell people that all the
Absolutely.
time. Like you may get something right away and I may not. But I'm gonna work 10 times harder and best believe I'm gonna be ahead of the curve by the time you look around because I'm
Absolutely.
going to do that work. As like
Absolutely.
people take stuff for granted a lot of times when it comes easy to them. And I'm gonna use this example. I remember being in college with Jordan. We were taking a foreign language class, and he would never study. I would be in the room all day long studying. I'd be like, "You ain't do this paper. Come on, we got to do this. You don't want to study together. All right, cool. I'm studying." He like, "I'll get to it. I'll get to it." We'll get to class. He'll open the book and take the test and pass the test. And I'd be like, "You know what? You ain't no good." But that's the difference between our minds. Our minds work differently. But that does not make you less important. That does not make you
Absolutely.
less intelligent. That does not make you
Absolutely.
less worthy. You just got to find what works for you and stand confidently in that and then work towards being better. Because again, a lot of the
Absolutely.
things that put us in these places, we had no control over. Whatever realm of illiteracy, whether it's spiritual, whether it's financial, whether it's emotional, we didn't put ourselves there. A lot of times it was learned behavior or what wasn't learned. But once you know better,
Absolutely.
it's up to you to do that work.
Absolutely. And going back to literacy and kind of like my story with it, you talked about how the educational system failed you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I was truly extremely blessed to be a part of educational systems, not the whole construct, because
Right.
CPS, some other. But
Right.
I was blessed to be a part of educational spaces that taught me so much beyond
Mm.
reading and math and science. I went to Lewisworth Experimental School for International Studies. And yes, we had to write that whole name on our paper.
That's the whole name. No abbreviations.
Yes. And this is where I stopped having to read quote unquote white books. Because I used to read, the Babysitters Club, the Hardy Boys, Nancy Drew,
Right.
all these white hearings and stuff like that. When I went to Lewisworth, oh my goodness, it opened my
I
eyes to,
wanna
for real. Absolutely. They opened my eyes to so many Black authors and Black storytellers and Black poets and musicians and speakers and just everybody. We said we sung lift every voice and sing every day. You know how you start off the day and you have to sing, do the Pledge of Allegiance and all of
Mhm.
that jazz. We were singing Lift Every Voice and Sing. We were doing our affirmations.
Come on here.
Okay? It was not any of that. It was
They
not
did not
any
come
of
to
that.
play.
We had classes. We called our teachers Mama, Baba. Like, it
Come
was
on.
deep. Okay. And it was just a wonderful place. And they opened my eyes to literacy on cultural, right?
Mhm.
On a
Social
cultural
literacy.
level.
Yes.
Exactly. And we used to watch Eyes on the Prize, and we used to watch Roots and all that stuff. But
Mm.
I specifically remember Eyes on the Prize because that's like a series of things. And
Wow.
we saw like Emmett Till's funeral
Mm.
and like so many things that we learned. And there is when my eyes were opened
Come on.
to well, let me back up. I experienced a trauma when I was young, and am I open to talk about that here?
Absolutely.
Okay, so I experienced a sexual trauma when I was younger, and of course it was like heartbreaking to me. And sometimes when we experience trauma, we feel like we're the only ones,
Mhm.
especially when it's something that's kept secret or something that's closed off or hush hush, and you're not able to even seek out if somebody else has gone through this
Right.
because you have to keep it so hush hush, even within yourself, that you can't even look secretly and be like, hey, where is this at? Especially as a child, a
Yeah.
kid, you don't even have the tools, to do that. But when I went to Lewisburg, I was introduced to Miss Maya Angelou. Oh my God. Um, and I read her series, autobiographical series of books, starting with the I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. And she's such a renowned artist.
Mhm.
And even during the time I grew up, she was so renowned and so known and so respected that I was like, yes, I want to read her books. And when I read the book and I learned that she went through a sexual trauma at a young age,
Mhm.
and she told someone, and some that resulted in the person being killed,
Mm.
and she felt that hurt. She did that with her
Mhm.
words, and then she didn't
Mhm.
again for
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
She did not speak. She became mute
Willingly.
willingly for
Mhm.
years. If I'm not mistaken, I want to say it was 7 years. I'm gonna say
1 year.
between 4 and
1 month is a
7
long
years
time.
that she did not speak at all. But she loved poetry, and she would go and read poetry, the greats, which were then mostly white people, but still,
Mhm.
she would read the poetry. She would soak in the books and soak in the knowledge, and she would this woman who had the collection of books, and she would go over to read and read and read and read. And Maya used to write on this notebook that she kept, because she wouldn't speak, but she would write it down. And one day, the lady said, "You don't love poetry." And so she's writing, "Yes, I do." And she's like, "No, you don't love poetry." She's like, "Yes, yes, I do. Yes, I do." And she said, "No, you don't love poetry, because if you can't love poetry until you can speak it. And that's what led her to speak,
Mm.
because she wanted to speak poetry.
And when
That's
she
what
spoke,
led her to write poetry. And that's amazing. That is
yeah.
amazing. Especially for someone who had gone through that type of trauma, to hear that she went through it and she also was traumatized by it, but she
Mhm.
came through it and became the most renowned. And what that taught me was, you could do this.
Mhm.
You could do this. And not only could I do it in life, but like I said, I had been writing since forever.
Right.
And that kind of was my first glimpse in, yeah, this is what you're meant to do. And not only are you meant to do it, but you can succeed in doing it, because she succeeded in doing it.
Come on.
And not only that, but at a young age, I think I was in tune to my people, in tune to the problems we face, but not only the problems we face, but the joys we experience in our community, the things we
Mhm.
overcame, But I ain't never been shamed to say, this is what we need to work on. But
Come on.
at the same time, I'm saying, we love hard. At the same time, I'm saying, we're being oppressed. At the same time, I'm saying we're traumatizing each other with some kind of way, but we can also get over this.
Right.
But so at a young age, I was thinking that, but this opened my mind to the fact that your writing, this writing changed your life.
Mhm.
So your writing, you have the responsibility
The
with
responsibility.
your writing to change lives,
Come on.
to help other than hinder.
Come on.
For not only everybody, but specifically for my people. For little girls who were like me, who looked like me, who act like me, for them. For women
Yeah.
who look like me. For mothers of children who look like me. Especially, I have a son.
Mhm.
So for mothers of Black boys
Mhm.
that got to go out here in these streets as an automatic threat,
Mhm.
automatically, that takes a toll on not only them, but being a mother, you never want anything to happen to your children. You definitely don't want them to go through um unneeded burden.
Right.
But even with that, literacy comes into play with that. So,
Mhm.
that's my mission behind what I do, my mission behind my writing, my mission behind my teaching, my workshops, my programming, everything that I do, that is the mission behind it. And all of that comes from this quote. Um, when a person sees a person going through, wait, sorry, when a person
Mhm.
who has experienced hell sees another person who has gone through hellish hell
Come on.
and survived, she can say, mine is not so bad as all of that. If she got through, then so can I.
Mm. That's deep.
And that's Mama Maya. That's Miss Maya Angelou. And I heard that and I was like, this is it. This sums up what I do. This is why I do what I do. So that people can say, she gets it. She understands me. I'm not alone. And build community. Because that's
Mhm.
part of literacy.
Yeah.
Building community is part of literacy. So not only saying, okay, I get it, and then holding that,
Making
but
sure
you get
everybody gets.
knowledge, you have to spread that. You have
Yeah.
to let people know that. And the other thing that I definitely want to say about literacy is kind of tied into the point like we were talking about the spelling. and people hiding or being fearful to ask questions and to learn. I just want to make this plain to everybody. First, I'm going to speak some accolades, right? I have taught workshops and spoke all over the city of Chicago for different organizations, for different groups, for different nonprofits, different companies, blah,
Come
blah,
on.
blah, right?
Come on.
Fail.
Come on, girl.
I have taught at, I had the opportunity to teach at the Chicago School of Psychology
Come on.
on disability and ableism.
Come on.
Um, just a lot. I've done a lot, which I'm blessed to do. But I said all this to say this, okay? Um, people always ask me, like, oh, you do all this, you do all this. Where did you go to school? Yeah, I went to 50,000 colleges. Let me just say, I've gone to Western Illinois University. I went to Olive Harvey College. I went to Northeastern Jacob Carruthers Center. I went to Columbia College. I went to Everest Olympia. I've gone to colleges. Okay. Um, so when people ask me, did you go to school? What school you went to? I'd be like Columbia College in Chicago. And they'd be like, oh, okay, what you graduating in? Nothing, because I didn't graduate. I'm like, you ain't got no degree? No, I never received a degree, y'all. And I'm still doing what I do.
Come on.
I'm
Speak
still
on it.
changing lives. I
Come.
still speak eloquently. So you do not have to have some fancy degree. You do not have to have your PhD to do something, to make a change, to be good at what you do.
Yes.
You do not need any of that. And I'm gonna break something else down to y'all. I'm an awesome poet, which you all will hear in a little bit.
Yes, they will.
Um, and Natalie can tell you, I don't usually talk as well as myself. I really don't.
You do. You feeling it? Cause I'm up here like you better speak. Speak
But
to
I'm
them.
saying that to say this. I'm an awesome poet. A lot of times when people hear me perform my poetry, or even when they read it, they'll give me terms and terminology and phrases and words that are technical and related to poetry. Um, and I'll never forget this awesome poet, Dr. Groove, who I love. He's an OG of poetry, and I wrote this poem and I wanted to memorize it because it was super long, and I haven't memorized a poem in ages. But this poem was special, and I really wanted to memorize it. And I was on Obama's internet, and somehow it came up that I didn't know how to memorize a piece. Am I frozen? What's happening?
You're good.
Okay. So he came and he helped me. And when he heard me read the poem and he was reading the poem, he was like, "Oh my God, you did this, 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 and I like the way you did da 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 da, and you used the da 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 da." And I was like, "Okay, yeah, yeah." And he finished, and I was like, "Now what did you say?" And he was like, "What do you mean? What do you mean what I said?" I said, "I don't understand anything you just said." And he was like, "You don't know this?" And I was like, "No." He's like, "Well, what about?" I was like, "No, I don't know any of those terms, any of the techniques, methods. I don't know anything you just said." And he asked me, he said, "How can you write it if you don't know it? Like, how did you write this without knowing what it was?" And that is literacy. A lot of literacy is training, right? I'm not going to deny that. But when he asked me, how did I create this without being trained to create this? My answer was, and always is, I just write it. That's it.
At the simplest form.
I just write it. So if your gift is your gift, if you just do it, I don't care how you think it's so little, how people make it into a hobby when you know it's your life, when you
Mm.
know that you have been given this gift, do not downplay it.
Come on.
Because yes, literacy is reading. Yes, literacy is math. Yes, literacy is communication. Yes, literacy is emotional. Yes, literacy can be spiritual. Yes, literacy are all of these things. But literacy is also knowing yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So when we let others downplay
Come on.
ourselves, our
Come on.
spirit, our souls, then that's a disservice to us. And
Mm-hmm.
that makes us illiterate of ourselves because if we let other people poison our view
Come on.
of who we are and what we're capable of, and wait, not who we are, not what we capable of, but whose we are,
Come on.
what we're made of, and even reign that we have. You know, a lot of people say, you all talking about God and goddess, you know, you can't be gods and goddesses, and we don't know where you got that from, right? And I say this a lot in my work, especially
Who's saying
about
this
women,
foolishness?
huh?
Said who's saying this foolishness? But go here.
Look, and I say this a lot in my work. I use the word goddess, and especially when I talk about Black women being creators and the creators of this world, like the source.
Mm-hmm.
And I always say, and you know this, Natalie, you know this, and a lot of people out there know this. Um, we're called melanated beings, and I know Natalie knows this because melanated in America.
It's a thing.
It's a movement.
It's a
Um,
move.
but we are melanated beings. And melanin makes up what, Natalie?
Everything, the universe.
Everything. The universe. So we say we're gods and goddesses. And they treat us like we're less than dirt, right?
Come on.
But they don't realize that they are literally resting inside of us.
Cradled safely. And all that melanin.
We are the universe. The universe is us. So why would we call ourselves anything other than gods and goddesses?
Come on.
You know what I'm saying? Do you get me?
Absolutely.
So it's like you have to know
Yes.
yourself and you have to know your worth.
Come
Oh,
on.
you have to know your
Mandatory.
worth. And I'm not saying, you're gonna know it immediately. I'm not saying, you walk around and you're like, oh, I know. It's a process. Everything is a process.
Mm-hmm.
And like Natalie was talking earlier about learning literacy, right? That's a process.
It's a
People don't
process.
just wake up one day and be like, "Oh, I am illiterate in this." Like, no, you have to learn these things, and when you learn things, there's a process to learning them, and there are steps.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you can't. That's another thing about literacy. People say, "I've learned this. I've learned that," but you can never stop learning.
Ever.
Um, I'm gonna quote a very famous person. The man who knows something knows knows nothing at all. Did I say it right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, you did.
That's the great Erica Badu. Um, because and they be like, "Oh, I know it all." Like, no, because if you were really wise, you would know that there is no way
To know
that you
everything.
can know it all. And you would also know that this world, this universe, this galaxy is so infinite
It's too
that
vast to know a fraction of it.
there is no way you can know, right, even a fraction of everything.
Mhm.
So based upon that, literacy is a process. So you give yourself room to grow and evolve. Don't try to be everything at once, and immediately. Um, so
Grace.
yeah,
I
I'm gonna
think
stop. Oh
I
my
think
God,
grace
Grace,
is important.
yes,
Grace is really
absolutely.
important. Girl, you hit on so many amazing points when it comes to literacy, and it's that empowering yourself. And when we think about literacy, it's really important that we empower our children. And I say our children because even if you don't have any biological children that you gave birth to, you have children. Every little person that walks past you at your job, your nieces and nephews, your friends, kids, you have children. We have to get back to the collective community mindset. We are one. If I make it, you make it. If I don't, you don't. We have to be as one if we're ever going to really heal and move out of the place that we are in right now today. And literacy is a part of that. Knowing that a lot of the things we do and the way we move nowadays is because of the trauma that we've had here in this country. And knowing that, how do we fix that? How do we mend those things? How do we heal those things? And one of the things we have to heal is the way we interact with our children. Because on the continent of Africa, children and elders are super important because elders lived it. They have the stories, they have the knowledge, and the babies need to get it. Here in this country, the children and the elders are the ones that are forgotten. That should tell you something, right? And so we have to get back to honoring our elders, sitting at their feet, getting the information they have to give to us, and then give that information to our babies. Because we do them a disservice when we have them out here illiterate about so many things culturally, them not knowing who they are, whose they are, and what they are capable of. Reading, writing, math, arithmetic, all of science, all of those things. But the foundation of who they are. Because like you said, even if some other areas are lacking, you can still be amazing. You can still learn the things you didn't learn before, but you have to have that drive. You have to have that belief in yourself. You have to have that confidence. You have to know that you are God, you are goddess, right? And imagine the world if we teach that to our children.
Yeah.
Cultural literacy. Tell them who they are. Teach them, show them where they have come from, the greatness that you can see. Right? But we don't do that, and we do our children a disservice. Even if you just tell them every day that they're amazing, you're planting that seed within them. And that's going to roll over into the rest of their lives. And so I think that was one really powerful thing that you stated, that as adults, we have to make sure that we share that and spread that with our young people, that you are amazing. You can do anything, regardless of where you may have faults, where you think areas you need to work on, areas of growth. You are amazing and you can do anything, whether you have a degree or not. A lot of millionaires ain't got no degree. A lot of millionaires ain't got no degree. Ain't never had a degree. A lot of millionaires ain't never graduated from high school. I'm not saying that you shouldn't graduate from high school. I'm just saying the facts. Okay. Education is important. Get as much education as you can. But the most education you can get a doctorate degree. You can be a doctor out here in whatever field you want to be in, and still not have the confidence to do what you want to do. Still not have the cultural literacy to go back and use the knowledge that you just received to give back and uplift your community. These are the things that are important, right? And all of that is forms of literacy that we need to be pouring into ourselves daily, because we have to reteach ourselves as adults, but we definitely need to be giving it to our babies. And that's another reason why the Healing Academy exists. And the amazing school that we are about to open to not only properly educate these kids on reading and writing and communicating and understanding, but financial literacy, spiritual literacy, who they are, the greatness of who they are, who they can be. And imagine that. Just imagine that. From pre-K to 12th grade. You mentioned in your story, Lewisworth, how that school had such an amazing impact on you. Imagine that. From pre-K to 12th grade, every day, knowing you are amazing, being affirmed that you are amazing, learning your history, your culture, and what you are capable of every day from pre-K to 12th grade. We are creating an army of amazing young people that will be unstoppable, because if you build up the foundation within your child and let them know who they are, what they are capable of, giving them literacy in all the different forms, and send them out into the world can't shake them.
That's right.
They're only shook when they don't have that foundation.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that's what we're working on. So I'm so glad you hit on a lot of the points you did, sis. You don't have to know it all. Know what you know your passion, know your gifts. Don't let the world move you. Because you mentioned something else, and I was reading and looking at a video earlier on the Breakfast Club, I do believe, and it is, I don't know the man's name, but a white man. He wrote a book, and where he interviewed a lot of billionaires, and basically was trying to figure out what they were doing differently than what he was doing, because they made it and he kept going broke. Okay. And it was basically just saying that what they did was they took what they loved and merged it with another thing that they loved and created something brand new. And Absolutely. He said something that was really powerful. That was actually something you just said in your conversation on literacy, which was people told them they were crazy. People told them that idea ain't never gonna work. Go back to work. People told them that these things were ridiculous and that it wasn't going to be a thing because it wasn't a thing already. But that's why they're billionaires right now, because it wasn't a thing, but it was a need. And now people see the need and now they have it. And now it's a thing. They're creators. You have to be a creator, not a consumer, right? They're creating and they're feeling a need. And your gift can do just that. Not saying that everybody's meant to be a billionaire or want to be a billionaire, but it's the mindset of greatness. Absolutely. It's the mindset of success. And that is within you. That of melanated descent. Greatness is already done within you. It's manifested into your future line already. Greatness is within you. You just have to believe it and work towards it in whatever area or field that is in. And if you, again, know that you are illiterate in something, work to get better, and then figure out what works for you. But that does not stop you. Absolutely. That does not hinder you in any way. So, girl, you were speaking, sis. I was over here like, okay, absolutely. Absolutely. I ain't gotta say nothing else. You done said the show is done. You done did it, sis. It's amazing. Speaking of truth, okay. But I do want to say thank you so much for coming on to the show. Thank you so much for sharing your truth, your story. And I wanted to say this as you were speaking, when you said the Maya Angelou quote and why you do what you do and how literacy impacted your life. And I'm so glad you found literacy. I'm so glad them people's reached you. I'm so glad those teachers encourage you. I'm so glad because you are doing your work. You are in your purpose. You are walking in alignment and you are healing and helping so many people. You just don't even know the percentage. You know about a couple of them, but you don't know the percentage because most that are impacted won't say a thing. And that's okay. Just know that you're doing your work and you are impacting so many. And it's beautiful. So with that, thank you for being you. Thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for being here with us. But God bless these people with this peace.
All right. So this is an open letter to the powers that be. If you want to check it out, it was in the November Reader, Chicago Reader, which you can find on their website. But here we go. I'm wearing war paint and a warrior stare, snarling with my fist raised in the air. I'm armed and ready with paper and pen. This is a Black woman's revolt. So let's begin.
Come on.
Being the perfect Black woman just doesn't exist. About time we realize this. See, that's what I mean. You're already trying to correct me. I'm learning my choices shouldn't be overturned. There are just some things I need to unlearn. The problem I have with society, or should I say the problem they have with me, is recognizing all of the energy flowing within. I'm the ultimate creator, goddess, wrapped in skin. Only Black women could understand. So here's the plan. I write this letter on behalf of you and me, speaking to the powers that be. Black women, teens, and girls, you are not what you are perceived to be by the world. You don't need an excuse to be who you are, no matter what anyone thinks. I'm connecting the missing links. So here are some notes people can take, some facts in which you can partake. We're not your mammy, your Aunt Jemima, or your unwilling mistress. Not your baby mama, sassy homegirl, or your appropriation muse. We revolt against being perceived as angry when we take a stance. We've taken care of everyone else. It's time to care for ourselves. We are holding people accountable. The old ways have departed. We're tired of being brokenhearted by this world, country, and our own community. Black women, come take up this cause with me. After this revolution, Black women will be a different kind. We're working on healing our spirit, body, and mind. We're stepping into our power and being ourselves boldly. This is a revolution of Black women being free to be Black women unapologetically. And until then, we won't see that the powers that be are we. That's that piece.
Come on, yeah.
Thank you.
Yes. 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 Okay. I hope y'all caught that. First of all, to know and to retake the powers that be. Because, you know, we always give that to somebody else. The powers that be, the people pulling the strings, the man behind the curtain, however you want to talk about that. To take that and say, no, boo. It's you.
Yeah.
Reclaim your power.
Absolutely.
Take your power back.
Absolutely.
Take your power back. Yes. And that's within literacy as well.
Absolutely.
Understand and identify where you are illiterate. Don't feel ashamed about it. It's quite all right. I told you, everybody on this planet is illiterate in something. Mm-hmm. It's a power in knowing where you need to build.
Absolutely.
If not, you can't build. So there's a power in knowing what needs fixing, because then you can fix it. Okay? Yeah. You got to be open to do that. You got to open your mind to do that. You got to be one of the people that don't think they know everything to do that. Okay? Yeah. And then take your power back. Build your power sources. Okay? Because you got a lot of them. Build them up and take your powers back, because you are the powers at be, honey. Come on, Cherlnell. Come on, Cherlnell. Black woman in particular, you are the powers that be. Thank you for that piece, girl. I'm over here like, yes, I am. Yes, I am.
Like, that be me.
That's me. That's me. Powers that be. Absolutely. Take y'all power back. All 2021 and the rest of your life. Y'all, this is the first Free Your Mind Friday of the new year. The first Free Your Mind Friday on Facebook. We done moved from IG over to Facebook, and we did it with a bang with Miss Cherlnell Lane. This week was on literacy. Next week is going to be on history. So all week long on the Healing Academy page, we'll be dropping history facts on art, education, health, okay, and how it plays a role in your life. And then we'll have another amazing artist here for Free Your Mind Friday. But Cherlnell, thank you. Cherlnell Lane. for being here with us today and sharing your literacy journey, because it was a beautiful journey, full of ups and downs. But this up, honey, ain't no down from here. You done found what you were meant to do. Thank you for finding it. Thank you for sharing it. Thank you for standing in there. We're talking about I taught at the, what you say, with the Psychology Institute? No degree, boo. What you talking about? I does what I do. That's what you said. I heard you when you said it, sis. Okay? And I was with you when you said it. Because I'm with that and I'm about that life. They like, you don't want to get a degree in that? No, I'm just gonna teach it. All right. Catch me later. Okay.
And one day I'm gonna get an honorary doctorate.
They gonna give it to you.
They gonna give it to me.
Doing the work.
And I'm gonna be Dr. Cherlnell Lane. Let me like Miss Doctor. That's doctor. Put some respect on my honorary doctorate.
Hold on, just write that down and the date it, and then you do the same. Doctor.
Right.
Cherlnell Lane. Okay. Yeah. Put today's date next to that thing and watch it manifest. Okay. You spoke it. Y'all heard it here first. Y'all heard it here first with the Healing Academy on Free Your Mind Friday. Okay. Dr. Cherlnell Lane with her honorary degree. That's coming through. She done manifested and it didn't bust through already, because she done told y'all we made up a melanin. I don't know if y'all know, but melanin give you superpowers. Okay. I don't know if you're aware. We talked about it, how we built up of the universe. Okay. Guys and guys, reclaim your power every single day of your life. If it's a bad day, that's all right. Tomorrow, the next second could be better. Reclaim your power. Don't let nothing stop you from being great. Nothing. Okay, it's already within you. Thank you, Cherlnell Lane, for being here. Tell the people.
Thank you for having me.
No worries. Thank you for sharing your story and that amazing poem. And if y'all want this, it'll be on our YouTube channel, and it'll also be here on Facebook. We definitely saving this one. Tell the people where they can find you.
You all can find me at Cherlnell pretty much everywhere. That's CHERLNELL, and that's everywhere. Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, everywhere. Twitter, everywhere. At Cherlnell. My website is Cherlnell.com. My email, if you want to email me pretty much about anything, is Cherlnell at Cherlnell.com. And yeah, I have a show every Monday called Words from a Black Woman's Experience. And it is an awesome, awesome platform where different types of Black women come and share different experiences with us. It's a great time, and it's very educational and emotional, and it gives you spiritual growth to hear other people's stories and the lessons that they've learned from them. So it's a great show. Next week,
wearing your soul to heal us. Okay.
Next week, which is Monday, the 11th, our guest is no other than the Healing Academy co-founder, Miss Dion Victoria.
Come on.
I am so excited to have her on my show. If you all want, you can go see past episodes, especially the one with Miss Natalie Battles. And you can go to my YouTube, which is bit.ly/Cherlnell YouTube.
Cherlnell everywhere.
Cherlnell everywhere. So thank you guys very much for having me. I so appreciate you. I so appreciate the platform. I appreciate what you're doing out here, trying to educate the masses on so many different levels. Thank you again for having me on the show.
All right. No worries, sis. Thank you for being on and blessing us with all that you've blessed us with today. Okay. Because I was blessed. I hope y'all was out there blessed, because I know I was blessed. All right. Thank you, everybody, for being here with us again on our very first Facebook Live Free Your Mind Friday. Okay. And we here every single Friday. Tap in. We right here on the Healing Academy page. Share, like, follow. Okay. And every Tuesday, we have the Breathe Experience with our other co-founder of the Healing Academy. Come on. You're going to do it right. It's not the Breathe Experience, but we're going to do it right. The breathe.
Experience.
Come on. You gotta take that breath. We serious about breathing now, okay? But every Tuesday, we have the breathe experience at 6 o'clock, and every Friday at 6 o'clock, right here on the Healing Academy page, you can find Free Your Mind Friday with another absolutely amazing artist. Well, we're gonna dive deeper into them and whatever topic we are on for that week and how it relates to their life. So literacy again could not have been more perfect for you, Cherlnell Lane. It's your life. It's a saving grace. It's all of those amazing things. And we'll see you guys next week for Free Your Mind Friday. Miss Nelly be out. Cherlnell Lane, we out.